Live from Red McEwen Field on the campus of the University of South Florida, Sports Channel presents University of South Florida Baseball. Tonight, the Bears of Mercer take on the Bulls of South Florida. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Red McEwen Field. I'm Frank Mercer, along with Chris Welsh, as the University of South Florida Bulls are ready for a one-game stand against Mercer, a team, Chris, they beat 14-1 up in Macon, Georgia just recently.
They did beat them 14-1, Frank, but Eddie Cardier will tell you at any moment, any of these ball clubs can come down and beat the Bulls. They can throw their ace pitcher, and it could be a different story.
I think that was sort of proven out here in the game against Southeastern Louisiana University, the one that the Bulls lost that ended their 16-game home field winning streak. Of course, they came back yesterday and got their 21st win of the year, and by the way, Eddie Cardier's 200th career win as a coach.
Well, the coach rewarded him with, or the team rewarded the coach with the 200th win with a nice plaque, a birthday cake, and even a shower of Gatorade.
Which one he appreciated most? I think the cake, probably, because that went down easier. And a nice note in the dugout from Coach Cardier to his players, thanking them not for the 200th win, but for the 21st win of the season. That'll keep them rated up there in the top 10 or 12, certainly, in the next poll that comes out. What does Eddie Cardier feel about it? Well, we'll find out when my partner Chris Welsh comes back with Coach Cardier right after this timeout on Sports Channel.
As a career as a coach, it must be very important to you.
Well, it was nice that these guys were a part of that, but more importantly, we won our 21st game of the year against a very good club in Southeast Louisiana, Chris.
Well, your team congratulated you, Coach, with a shower of Gatorade, a cake, and a plaque. That's nice of them. Tell me, though, last weekend you played the Mercer Bears. You whooped up on them 14-1. Now you've got a same ball club coming in here now. Is there a natural letdown your team might have playing this team again?
Well, I hope not. What we've talked about is the fact that last week we played Mercer on Monday, and they were coming off a weekend series, a 3-game conference series where they threw their number 1, 2, and 3 pitchers. And they did not have a conference series this past weekend, I don't believe, so we're probably looking forward to facing the top guys in their rotation, I'd say.
Congratulations again on your 200th, Coach. I hope the next 200 come much quicker. Now up to Frank Messer with the starting lineups.
Okay, Chris, and here we go for the Mercer Bears. Leading off and playing center field, Rob Myers. Rich Crowd is the shortstop and number 2 hitter. Batting third and catching, Brandon Smith. Muzzy Jackson is the cleanup hitter and first baseman. Joe LeBons will be at third base and bat 5th. Scott Malone plays left field and hits 6th. Jimmy Moneypenny in right field, batting 7th. The number 8 hitter is Scott Steele, the designated hitter. And Doug Kreis will be at second base and bat 9th. For the University of South Florida Bulls, we will have their defensive alignment right there on the screen for you so you can jot it down at home or get it in memory. Be in left field, Kevin Detola in center, and Rich Nogas in right. Mike Smith at third, Alan Brandon at shortstop. Scott Miller at second base, Scott Henry at first base, Troy Russ catches, and Whitney Florin on the mound for the Bulls. Whitney with a record of 3 wins and no losses. The umpires are Dennis McComb at the plate and Mike Kiernan at first base. Right there you see Eddie Cardier to the left of your screen, the coach of the Bulls of South Florida, and Barry Myers to the right of your screen, number 1, the head baseball coach at Mercer College, as they go over the ground rules with the 2 umpires employed for tonight's game. Things are a little bit rushed at the moment because the Mercer club played over in DeLand, Florida this afternoon. They played against Southwest Missouri State and won the ball game 2-1 in extra innings. It was only scheduled for 7. They played 8, and then they got lost on their way to Tampa. I don't know what bus company they use, but I don't think I'd want to use them myself. Chris Welsh has joined us now from the field. Chris, you get lost between between DeLand and Tampa. I'm not sure that I'd want to have that bus driver.
Well, they found DeLand.
Yeah,
that should be the hard part.
Well, that's right. Yeah, they found DeLand, but then they couldn't find Tampa. And there's the bus that they came in. So anyway, they got here about 15 minutes ago, and it was a last-minute rush trying to get a starting lineup. Chat just very briefly with head coach Barry Myers. And, Chris, you had a chance to ask Barry Myers about his pitcher for tonight, Michael Mims.
Well, the first thing he said about Michael Mims is that his name is Michael, don't call me Mike Mims. He told us that we called him Mike on the television tonight, that his mother would get upset, so we're going to call him Michael all night long and wish him the best, but he's got a 3-3 record. He has 60 strikeouts and only 22 walks, so he does have very good stuff. He's got only so-so support so far this year from the Bears at a 3-3 record. So we look to him to have a pretty good game.
All right, Whitney Florin now pitching tonight for the University of South Florida Bulls as they take the field. Whitney has won 3, lost none, and he has pitched well so far for Eddie Cardieri's team.
He has pitched very well for Eddie Cardieri and has had some good support. Mates. We're going to have the stats in a minute, but Whitney Florin, you'll see, it's a good-looking right-hander, just a young kid's catcher, and Troy Russ calling the pitches from behind the plate. We've mentioned many times before, sometimes the college coaches will call the pitches. Does not believe in that theory. He lets the catcher and the pitcher work together, work out their own thing. There you see 3-0 with a 3.38 ERA. He has pitched 18 innings, given up 19 hits, struck out 14, and only walked 7. So he has pretty good control and a pretty good strikeout pitch.
And one thing that Florin will do is pitch inside. He's hit 3 batters this year, and he's not afraid to claim the inside half of home plate.
That's something that pitching coach Spanky McFarland really tries to emphasize on that pitching staff is to pitch inside, establish that part of the plate. What you do when you pitch inside is you buy the outside part of the plate as yours.
Or as Don Drysdale used to say, so I'm going to take half and give the batter half, but I'm his. So no, you really do. If you're going to pitch baseball for a living, you've got to go out there and win, and part of winning is pitching inside. And I think that you'll see Mr. Florin tonight. He has to come inside, and he will establish inside. He is from Cotchwood, Massachusetts, attended Barnstable High School in Hyannis. He was a 3-sport athlete, played baseball, basketball, and football. He's a big lad at 6'1" and 205 pounds. Very well suited as a football player. Just a freshman. And as you mentioned, Chris, he's got a lot of help down there, number 13 behind the plate, his battery mate, Troy Rusk. So we're just about ready to go, getting underway just a very few minutes late. By the way, the Bulls of South Florida again ranked 12th nationally in the latest poll. They won 3 out of 4 games last week to maintain their number 12 ranking, a record of 21-5. Myers, we do not have any statistics or batting averages for the Mercer players. Sorry to say, they do not have a statistician with them, nor a sports information director, and getting here just 15 minutes before game time, it was just almost impossible to get it from the coach. However, we discover that our crack Sports Channel staff has managed to get the statistics, and you'll be seeing them flashed up there on the screen.
The industrious work of Jack Helig was able to come up with these statistics.
All right, Rob Myers, a 280 hitter, 1 home run, 6 RBIs. And the count is 2-1. He went for the downs on that.
Whitney Florin's game plan is to establish his fastball early in the ball game, then go with his breaking ball. And part of establishing that, we've already talked about it, is pitching inside right from the start.
Pretty good breaking ball there, but he missed the strike zone with it and falls behind the count 3-1. Now, normally a pitcher, although it doesn't hold true all the time anymore, in fact, they're getting more and more away from it. 3-1, you used to see a fastball, and I think from Florin you will, and you do. Well, Myers didn't, but it was a fastball. I don't think Rob saw that one.
Well, that was a fastball in a very good place. Whitney Florin, if he has any drawbacks right now, he's just a freshman, so he may be a little bit nervous at the beginning of the ball games. But what Florin likes to do is really cut it loose, and sometimes he'll be a victim of overthrowing.
Well, he came right back there and struck him out. Fastball after he missed with that big sweeping curve to make it 3-1. So Myers is down on strikes. Take another look at that last pitch, Chris.
Well, we talked about him cutting it loose. There he goes on that low outside corner. Good location, pretty good zip. Florin gets it up there in the high 80s, so these guys better be ready to turn it up a notch when they face his fastball.
Rich Crowd, the shortstop, a 260 hitter, 2 home runs, 5 RBI, no home runs, 5 RBIs. Takes a pitch low and away. Florin and helped his team to a 26-6 record his senior year. He brings it high and goes behind the count 2-0 to Crowd. Rich Crowd is a Floridian. He's from Miramar, Florida. Made his way up into the state of Georgia to attend Mercer College, which is located in Macon, Georgia. The home of the notorious Wiley Baxter. 2-1 pitch. Out over second base. And Scott Miller claims it. 2 down.
No broken bats in this game, Frank, with all the aluminum being used in the NCAA now. But if he had had a wooden bat up there, I think he'd had another lamp on his hands.
Yeah. Right in on him. Brandon Smith now, the catcher. Brandon's a senior, a native of Macon, Georgia, so he stayed right at home to go to college. A .260 hitter, 1 home run, 4 RBIs. Just underway here at Red McEwen Field. He takes a big rip there, straightaway center field. Daytona now comes back in as he made an easy first inning for Whitney Florin. At the end of 1/2 inning, the score, Mercer 0, and the Bulls of South Florida are coming to bat on Sports Channel. Mike Smith at third base, Ken Dembski in left, Scott Miller at second. Troy Rusk will catch. Joe Liss is the designated hitter. Scott Henry plays first base. Rich Nogas in right field for the injured Gus Vollmer, and Andy Brandon at shortstop. We'll tell you more about Vollmer later on. Malone in left field for the Bears. The fielder is Rob Myers, and the right fielder Jimmy Moneypenny. Around the infield, Joe LeBons at third base, Rich Crowd with Muzzy Jackson at first, and Brandon Smith the catcher. Michael Mims, top pitcher on the staff, a record of 3-3, and I think they'll flash the rest of his figures up there. Look at that earned run average, Chris, 2.06, by far the best on the pitching staff.
Well, he is definitely the class of the Bears pitching staff. He's got good stuff. He throws in the upper 80s. He's got a good breaking ball. 60 strikeouts, as you see there, with 22 walks. That's a very good strikeout to walk ratio.
Wow, 60 strikeouts in 48 1/3 innings.
The battle of the Bulls and the Bears. The Bulls are facing the Bears' best.
A Wall Street game tonight. Kevin Daytola leads off for the Bulls and takes a strike. Kevin is hitting .257, 12 RBIs. That's a ball, 1-1. Daytola, good speed, good leadoff man. He'll accept a walk. 7 doubles. Line drive hitter when he makes contact, which he did not right then.
And it's not very often that he does get the bat left-handed. Most of the pitching is right-handed, so Daytola would bat left-handed. But right-handed, he has a little bit more pop, and he has a longer swing. Not quite the contact hitter that he is from the left side.
Hanging curveball, grounded third. Nice play by LeBons. And the throw gets away at first. So the official score. Debate that mentally for a moment. We'll take a look at the replay. That's a pretty tough chance for the third baseman, LeBons. He backhanded it. But a good throw would have had him. So LeBons will be penalized for making a good fielding play and then a poor throw. An error will be charged on the throw, allowing Daytola to reach.
Number 6, third baseman, Mike Smith.
So the Bulls have the leadoff man on for Mike Smith, their third baseman. Smitty, a .260 hitter. After the first pitch, and drills it into left field, base hit. Ball bobbled for just a second out there by Scott Steele. Now he gets it back in. And the first 2 Bulls are on board. An error, now a single. Runners at first and second.
Mike Smith, first pitch hitting, likes that number 1. He lines it in the hole for base hit.
All right. Here's Ken Dembski, batting .375, 1 home, and he bunts it foul. No, he did not make contact. Throw down to third now as the pitch got away from the catcher, Brandon Smith. That'll be a pass ball. The bunt was on, sacrifice was on, and Dembski reached out across the plate, did not make contact. Now you see the catcher, Smith, throwing down to third base too late to get DeTola position. Good breaking pitch. At third, Smith at second, and Dembski now with a count of strike 2. And a wild pitch thrown there, and a run will score. Smith races home from third. The Bulls lead 1-0 on a wild pitch. Mike Smith going to third as DeTola scores.
Run number 1, an unearned run for the Bulls as this slider gets away from catcher. He didn't really have much of a chance on that. That's a wicked breaking ball when you throw it 55 feet. Takes a superhuman play sometimes to knock it down and keep it in play.
1-2 count on Dembski. Infield is in here in the first inning. They're playing him in tight right around the grass to try to hold Smith at third or make a play on him at the plate on a ground ball. Batting average has jumped up about 50 points, 375. Hitter's now hitting about 4 1/4. Oh, nice play by the pitcher. He's got him caught. And Smith will be tagged out by the third baseman, Joe LeBons. But after being caught, Smith did one thing, Chris. He kept the rundown going long enough to allow Dembski to get to second base.
That's good heads up base running by Dembski, realizing that Smith is going to be in. There you see him trying to get out of the pickle. He knows the third baseman's got the ball. He's hung out. No throw to get him this time, but he does hang up long enough in order for Dembski to get out there in scoring position.
So you make the best out of a poor situation after getting caught off third base. He did. Hang it up long enough for Dembski to get into scoring position. They're 1 out. Dembski at second, and Scott Miller batting in the cleanup spot will step in. He showed bunt, took the bat away, and that's a ball. Scott Miller batting .304, 5 home runs, 20 runs batted in. That's low, ball 2.
You know, the Mercer Bears got here, Frank, we said only 15 minutes before the game. May not be that much time, enough time for Michael Mims to get loose and prepare the way he would normally prepare for a ball game. On the statisticians and us from not getting lineups in time, but these pitchers have to get out there, go through their pregame ritual, something Mims may not have been able to do.
Ball right to LeBons. He spins and throws, and he'll still get... No, he pulled him off the bag. He's safe. The throw beat him, but LeBons will pick up his second error of the inning on the throw.
LeBon's having a little bit of a hard time trying to get the handle on this ball. When he does, he makes a nice turn, throws it over here, but Muzzy Jackson pulled off the bag. Tried to give him a little bit of a decoy down there, but he could not fool Mike Kiernan, first base umpire.
So the second error of the inning charged to Joe LeBons, the third baseman, both on throws, and it'll bring up Troy Rusk. Troy is batting .372, 6 home runs, and 27 runs batted in. Rusk and Scott Henry are tied for the team lead, and no, they're not. Vollmer has 28 RBIs. They're tied for second. We mentioned the fact Vollmer is injured. He's going to miss a couple of weeks anyway with severely injured finger. Hurt on running the bases yesterday against Southeastern Louisiana University.
Dislocated finger may keep him out for several weeks. He got caught up in the spikes of the defender sliding into a bag.
That's a ball, 1-1.
That's a big blow to USF, too, because Vollmer really solidified the middle of that lineup, hitting in front of Rusk. Rusk got better pitches that way. Vollmer got better pitches. They're going to miss Gus in the lineup.
Yeah, Gus with 28 RBIs, 5 homers, and he was hitting .344. Downstairs. Oh, man, they set the pole on fire out there. So we will see what we will see here. That's call George.
We need some more light.
Mr. Steinbrenner, he put the lights in here. There goes the last one. Whoops. A little early for 4th of July. Yeah, sort of like the natural. That's right, Jimmy Williams. See Robert Redford out there with a bat in his hand any minute. Except this ain't Buffalo. This is movie. So the lights in right are gone. The entire thing is out, and we still see it burning out there. Just a little bit. Now it's just about gone.
Well, just like the old Sandlot games, maybe we'll just make right field automatic out.
Well, I don't know what we're going to do. The right fielder, Jimmy Moneypenny, is standing out there saying, wait a minute, time out. You expect me to catch a fly ball with no lights out here? Yeah, Jimmy, that's what they expect. Okay. Good luck, babe. Seeing a 007 movie. Inside, and the count is 3-1. How'd you like to be playing right field with Rusk up there and no lights?
After you got lost getting to Tampa.
After you got lost getting here. Yeah, it's not there. It's not Mercer's day, is it? Or night.
Hey, come on, George.
Wish they were back in Fort Valley, I beg your pardon, in Macon. Ground ball slowly hit right side. Good range there by Doug Crease, and he throws him out. Scott then at second base, but that change made just before the game. So Doug Crease made the play.
Russ gets this one right in on the thumbs. Michael Mims doing a good job pitching the Bulls inside. Crease away base. No play over there for Ken Dembski, and he'll go ahead and make the put out at first base.
So there's the second out of the inning. And the batter is Joe Liss. Runners at second and third. Dembski at third, Scott Miller at second, and Liss fouls it out of play to the right side. Joe's having a good year, Chris, batting .309. He's got 19 ribbies. Not really a big power hitter, but good contact man and good clutch hitter. He's driven in 28 runs with 32 base hits. No, he's driven in 19 runs with 21 base hits.
And his on-base average of .453, that's very good. The Bulls do have a lot of guys with over 450 percentage points of on-base average, so they've got guys who can get on the base all the time.
I see 6 right now with an on-base percentage, 400 plus.
Oddly enough, their leadoff hitter is one of the lowest.
That is strange, isn't it? That's Ola.
But they're 21-5, and who's to argue that record?
Fouled away by Liss. The count holds at 2-2. You talk to a lot of baseball people, and that's one of the first statistics they want to look at for a hitter is on-base percentage. You'll find that as the Major League season goes along, and you see the averages come out every Sunday, Saturday or Sunday, depending on what paper you get. That is thrown away, and another run is going to try to score and will score as Ken Dembski races home from third, and the Bulls now lead 2-0. Second wild pitch of the inning.
I'm not sure if this was just a mix-up on the communication between catcher and pitcher, but or whether it was just a runaway pitch. But that fastball just tailed high and outside. Brandon Smith not being able to get a glove on it means another score for the Bulls.
And Liss hits another one foul. Well, the Bulls have scored on one base hit. There have been 2 errors, a pass ball, and only 2 runs have come in. I tell you, Mims may be pretty fortunate in that. In the air, left center field. Cruising over is Rob Myers, the center fielder, and that will retire the side. The Bulls come out of 1 base hit. There were 2 errors and a man left. After 1, the Bulls lead it 2-0. This is Sports Channel. Written consent of Sports Channel Florida is prohibited. And we go to the second inning with the South Florida Bulls leading 2-0. And for the Bears, it'll be Muzzy Jackson, Joe LeBons, and Scott Malone.
There's the stats on Muzzy Jackson, clearly the best hitter on the Mercer Bears. 350, 10 home runs, 16 RBIs on a club that is 6-14. So Muzzy is...
Certainly is. Big, strong left-hand hitter. Takes down low for a ball. Muzzy Jackson, a junior, 6'5", 215 pounds, out of Moultrie, Georgia. Good size for a first baseman, isn't it? 6'5", big target over there to throw to. swings and lofts one high, foul, and whether that got Mr. Hertz out there or not.
What color was your Mr. Hertz?
My Mr. Hertz was blue.
That one got a windshield. That's why I parked behind by the soccer field, Frank.
Well, 1-1 pitch coming. That's a strike, and it's 1-2. LeBon's a .280 hitter. No homers, 2 RBIs. The deck. And Jackson grounds one to second. Dug out neatly by Scott Miller, and he throws him out. So now we'll have Joe LeBons, the third baseman, with Scott Malone moving out on deck.
Third baseman, Joe LeBons.
Did you take out insurance on that, Mr. Hertz?
Yes, I did. I was told by the company to get full insurance. Breaking ball, strike called on LeBons.
It may have finally paid for itself.
And the 0-1 pitch. High foul is going to drift out of play to the right side. Scott Henry gives it a run, but no chance. I'm told that Jim Goodman and his family, big Bulls fans, are watching our game down in St. Petersburg on Paragon Cable. Thanks to our good buddy Bill Gephardt, who added Sports Channel to Paragon about a year or so ago. 0-2 pitch coming. Slowly on the ground, second base. Miller's going to have to hurry. He does hurry and gets it.
I bet.
2 outs. And it'll bring up the left fielder, Scott Malone. Malone hitting but 180, however, he...
Fielder, Scott Malone.
Well, the Bulls enjoying a 2-0 lead right now, and the pitch comes high and away. You know, when you think about it, Eddie Cardieri with 200 wins in this his 6th year of coaching. They're coming pretty quick for him, aren't they?
They certainly are. The last few years here in South Florida, he's produced some very good ball clubs. This one, though, probably the best one he's had.
1-1 deal. Inside, you know, it's awfully tough. I've said this before, and you could appreciate it, I guess, more, Chris, having played collegiate baseball, but it's awfully tough on a college coach because he doesn't know from year to year how many players he's going to have, who he's going to have, who's going to go pro, especially with the junior college kids able to turn pro after every season, really, I guess.
Yeah, they come over as juniors. They're eligible to be drafted after their junior year. If you're lucky enough to get a good freshman, as Eddie Cardieri has in Whitney Florin, they're not eligible to be drafted until after their third year.
Right.
But it makes coaching very difficult, recruiting difficult with all the recruiting rules and inspections and violations being undiscovered nowadays. It's a touchy thing to be a college coach.
The walk to Scott Malone, the first base on balls given up by Whitney Florin, and that is the 8th man he has walked this year. Here's Jimmy Moneypenny, the right fielder. Moneypenny is from Warner Robins, Georgia. Makes it sound like he might be a military lad, right? Warner Robins, big Air Force base there.
It is a big Air Force base.
Off the end of the bat, right side, Scott Miller to his left, throws, and he gets in. So Scott Miller makes all 3 plays here in the top of the 2nd inning. There is a man left after the walk to Malone. And in the middle of inning number 2, the score, South Florida 2, Mercer nothing. This is Sports Channel.
Unless we lose a couple more lights.
That's right. Unless maybe they know something we don't now. The right field light standard is gone. It passed away in a blaze of flame.
They didn't know you said Bud Light.
All right. All right. Scott Henry with a count of 2-0, lines at the right field, base hit. Well, Scott Henry, who came in batting .402, collects his 38th base hit of the year. By far the most of any player on the University of South Florida club. And that will be base hit number 2 for the Bulls. Here's Rick Nogus.
Number 21, right fielder, Red McEwen.
Nogus employed in right field after the injury that was going to knock Gus Vollmer out of action for at least 2 weeks, possibly more. Severely dislocated finger. Which finger was it, Chris?
His ring finger.
Ring finger. I saw that bandage and everything on it down there, and it was hard. I just didn't think to count off the number of fingers.
Well, they were very relieved to know that it was not a fracture. They thought it was a compound fracture when it happened because it was so dislocated that it had split the skin.
Wow.
But Nogus, as you saw, his batting average at .091. He's only been up 11 times, so he's been used as a part-time player. Just give him a chance to get back in the groove.
Takes a pitch high and away. It's awfully hard on a guy, you know, to come off the bench just every once in a while and go out there and get a base hit, even though they do take their batting practice and so forth. And Nogus hits this one in the air to right field, and there to make the catch is Jimmy Moneypenny. Just started to say Nogus, a batting average of .287 last year, Chris, so a guy that hits that 1 year is going to come back. He's not going to be standing down there around 200. Nogus gone, one away, and Andy Brandon, the shortstop. Andy is batting .222, no homers, 5 RBIs. And he got him picked off at first base. Go down to second, and they do not tag him. So it'll be a stolen base for Scott Henry, and there's a play that should not have happened. They had him picked cleanly, and nobody's able to take him.
Sometimes when the base runner makes this kind of play, he can outrun the throw to second base, but here he outruns the shortstop who's over there covering the bag. Rick Crowd a little bit late. There may have been a little mix-up on who was going to cover in case of a stolen base attempt.
I think there had to be.
Crowd must have been playing deep in the hole, not able to get there in time.
Now breaking pitch is thrown here to Andy Brandon for a called strike.
Mims has the good move, though. He looks like he hangs his leg up there, makes the runner commit, and then he decides to go home or first base.
Brandon, a .222 hitter, takes away, and the count 1-1. Boy, what a beautiful day it was today here in the Tampa Bay area. Temperature up in the mid-80s. Beautiful, sunshiny, blue sky day. Back to the screen.
You arrived.
I didn't see any fog.
We had a heavy coat of fog early in the morning.
Really? Well, you go to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's no wonder you get caught in fog. I'm a little foggy at 6 o'clock in the morning, but that's because it's a little early for me. And a good breaking pitch got him. First strikeout for Michael Mims, and we'll take another look at it.
His 61st strikeout of the year. That's a good breaking ball. Andy Brandon, no chance on that slider breaking away from him. Mims got the good fastball. I'll tell you, when he gets that breaking ball over, he's tough. I'm impressed so far with Michael Mims.
Well, you have to, you know, we looked at his stats there, 60 strikeouts in 48 innings coming in. That is his first strikeout in this ball game, and he'll work to Kevin DeTola. DeTola reached on a throwing error by Joe LeBons, the third baseman, in the first inning, and came in to score an unearned run. The Bulls are leading by a score of 2-0. They have Scott Henry out at second, 2 down. That's a good-looking breaking ball there again.
Certainly is. Not afraid to throw it behind in the count either. Good hard breaking ball, somewhere between a fast or a slider and a curve.
Over the top of it. You see a pitch like that, and I think back over the years, so many of them thrown by Ron Guidry. Had that great slider. What a shame that is. He had to have the elbow surgery. I hope he can come back. Just fine gentleman, and a good pitcher. Threw that one by him. So, no runs, a base hit. No errors. A man is left after 2 full innings of play. The score, South Florida 2, Mercer 0 on Sports Channel.
Designated hitter, Scott Steele.
Make a pretty good Wall Street series, the Bulls and the Bears. Right now the Bulls are on top. Scott Steele, the designated hitter for Mercer. Takes a strike. Steele is from Winterville, Georgia. Freshman, 6'3", 210 pounds. I don't know, Chris. The way I see this young, even though he's 6'3", stands well off the plate. He had trouble with that breaking pitch out over the outside part.
Especially coming down from a right-hander, that breaking ball down the strike zone. That's going to be difficult for him to hit. But we can take a look at his front foot and see which way he steps. He steps a little bit towards the plate. Now Whitney Florin smells that and wants to knock him off the plate.
That's right. Don't step in there like that, young man. I will take a look at his stance here now. As he digs in a bit, wide stance.
He's well off the plate, very wide stance.
See, he just can't handle that pitch. He won't handle that pitch at all. That is the second strikeout for Whitney Florin. And it'll bring up Doug Crease. Take another look at this one, Chris.
This breaking ball, Frank, way on the outside part of the plate. Actually, only started out on the outside part of the plate. His breaking ball good enough to end up in the dirt when he throws it knee high. Didn't have a prayer.
Right in on the hands of Crease, who fouls it back. Doug was not penciled in the original lineup handed in by Barry Myers, or given to us by Barry Myers. So Doug Chris, K-R-E-I-S, little fister off the left side and grabbed by Smith. Mike Smith made a good play on that one. It was hit right off the fingertips and right into the fingertips, really, of Mike Smith.
There's probably a fingernail or two on that ball. Mike Smith catches it going away from the plate. You don't see that very often with a third baseman catching the ball with his back to home plate.
No, you don't.
In the dirt part of the infield.
No, sir. I'll tell you, the more I see Mike Smith down there at third base, the more I have to like him.
Well, he's got the great arm. He's shown improvement with his glove, and his batting is coming around. He looks like a good prospect.
Rob Myers, the batter. Rob struck out in the first inning.
Smith's arm is what gets you right away, though.
Oh, man, he's got a gun. Myers is from Macon, Georgia. And it's a high pop-up on the right side of the diamond. Scotty Miller is under it. And that's a 3-up, 3-down inning. So through the first 3 trips to the plate, the Mercer Bears have not had a base hit. After 2.5, the score, the Bulls 2, the Bears nothing.
You got the knack of that.
No. That's our. So when is our next game? When I think of all the aging left-hand pitchers who are still in uniform. Bunt pushed down the right side by Mike Smith. He's going to beat it out for a base hit. Mike Smith laying one down, and in a perfect spot. Nothing they can do with that ball except take a bite out of it. We'll take another look at it.
Well, we've talked about Mike Smith's defensive prowess. Here he lays down a bunt, pushes it to the no man's land in between first base and pitcher zone. I'll tell you, unless the first baseman can come in and field that ball much sooner, he's got no chance. Smith, pretty speedy. That's a base hit all the way.
Base hit all the way is right, and Smith is now 2 for 2. It'll bring up Ken Dembski. Dembski reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning and came in to score. He hits that ball a ton, left center field. That one is way back to the wall, and it is at the base of the wall. Let's see if they hold Smith up. They're going to wave him on. Smith coming in to score. The play will be at third. No play as the relay is dropped, and the Bulls lead by a score of 3-0. A triple for Dembski.
Dembski's been real good this year, Frank, hitting left-handers and hitting the ball the other way. He gives himself up a little bit against left-handers, does not try to pull this ball. This on the outside part of the plate. Dembski right on it, throws his top hand real good. This ball may be misjudged a little bit by Scott Malone out there. Doesn't realize it's hit that hard, and the ball goes over his head and up against the fence. Dembski takes third on it.
Number 7, second baseman, Scott.
Right off the Sports Channel sign.
All right.
Good aim, Ken.
Good aim is right, and thank you, Jeff, for buying that sign. Pitch comes in low here to Scott Miller. Miller reached on a throwing error by the third baseman, Joe LeBons, in the first inning. Bulls are leading by a score of 3-0. They now have 4 hits in the ball game. Hard smash to third off the glove. Dembski will have to hold at third as LeBon's throw not in time at first. That was a wicked smash, and that will be a base hit for Scott Miller. That's why they call it the hot corner, and you'll see some people say that was just too hot to handle.
Hot corner it is. There's LeBon's lucky just to knock it down. Here I was kind of hoping he'd just stick it in his pocket and not try to throw, but a pretty good defensive play by Muzzy Jackson at first base saved LeBon's his third error.
So Miller aboard with the infield hit, base hit number 5 for the Bulls. Still nobody out, and here comes Troy Rusk with runners on the corners. Troy grounded out to the second baseman, Doug Chris, his first time at bat.
Number 13, the catcher, Troy Rusk.
Pickoff throw to first base, but Miller gets back. Another throw over there. Also, Dredd coming back over here on the 30th for Toledo. Give Welsh 10 days to sharpen up his wit even more.
I'll be ready for you, Frank.
Probably be emceeing a few more dinners before then. Get all those one-liners ready for me. All right. No ball, 1 strike count on Troy Rusk. I have to go back and get out some of my old Bob Orban stuff. In the dirt, picked up by Muzzy Jackson.
There you saw Mims throw over to first base. He likes to hang his right leg up there a little bit, make that runner commit. By throwing over there quite a bit, it makes it difficult to steal on because you're either going to be picked off or have the base standing up.
Now the runner goes. Miller going, and no throw down to second. Brandon Smith elected to hold the ball. A stolen base for Scott Miller.
Many times off a left-handed pitcher, a base runner will go on at the first movement of the pitcher, hoping that he doesn't come to first base, or if he does come to first base, he'll come over slow enough to be able to beat the throw anyway. That time Miller guessed right.
4 out of 6 now for Miller. And Rusk swings at a pitch that might have been out of the strike zone. I believe it was. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Rusk, one of the most heavily scouted players on the Bulls team. I was over at the Reds spring training complex today, and when I told the folks I was doing South Florida games, they all mentioned Troy Rusk.
Aye. Well, you didn't mention that one.
No, we won't tell them about that, Troy.
Got him with a breaking ball. That'll be the 3rd strikeout for Michael Mims. Runners at second and third for the Bulls. That is the first out of the inning, and the batter will be Joe Liss. Michael Mims, a sophomore. He's 6'2", 185-pounder. Joe Liss flied out to center field to end the first inning, and they're going to put him on. They'll pitch instead to Scott Henry. You know, you don't see that many intentional walks, or I haven't, in televising college baseball.
This is the first one we've seen the Bulls receive this year, if I'm not mistaken.
That's the first one I've seen.
And they're walking Liss to get to Scott Henry, who's only batting .402.
Top hitter on the club, that's right. .402 before getting a base hit his last time up. But they're playing percentage baseball right here, going, as they say, by the book. Pitting left-hander against left-hander and setting up the double play or the force at home plate. Now we'll see whether it works, whether the strategy is good or bad. Well, so far, fair. Off the chest, throw to first, got him. Run scores. Dembski scores from third as second baseman Doug Chris played the ball off his chest, got the handle in time to throw Henry out. On the play, Scott Miller went to third, and Joe Liss down to second. And the batter will be Rick Nogus, the right fielder. So the Bulls with their fourth run. And Scott Henry with his 28th run batted in. Tied now for the team lead with Gus Ballman. No balls, one strike. Nogus flied out his last trip. Nice play there by Brennan Smith, the catcher. The Bulls here at Red McEwen Field have won 17 and lost 1. On the road, they've won 4 and lost 4. They had won 16 in a row here until they lost a couple of days ago to Southeastern Louisiana University, and then they came back to beat Southeastern Louisiana yesterday in a tough ball game here. Very close game. I think final score was, what, 5-3. And they got the last out on a line drive right back to the pitcher, who started to turn it into a double play with the tying runs on base. That comes in low.
Southeastern has a good club.
Yes, they do.
They came down here with a pretty good record. They were 14-4-1 or 14-6-1. They had a pretty good ball club.
Pitching may be a little shaky, but they're going to win more than they lose. Now, with the count 3-1, they got to put him on. Ball 4 is intentionally thrown to Nogus. That'll be the second intentional walk of the inning. And take a look at the flag out in center field. What breeze we have is blowing toward left. That is the prevailing wind here at Red McEwen Field. It sort of comes and goes. It's, I guess you'd say, gusty. Although when it comes hard, it's not that hard. If that makes any sense, and it probably does. Ball 1 to Andy Brandon, the second. The bases are loaded, 2 down, and the Bulls are leading 4-0. One ball, one strike.
Looks like Mims has 2 different arm angles. Sometimes he'll drop down a little bit. Other times he'll come right over the top. There he came right over the top with a pretty hard slider. When he does come over the top, it looks like he has a little better velocity.
Okay. So the count is 1-2 now. And plate umpire Dennis McComb walks another ball out to the mound. Has something to say to the young left-hander. I assume he had something to say. It looked like he did.
Read my lips. There will be no more tax increases on this Red McEwen Field this year.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. 1-2 pitch coming. Foul. Uh-oh. That was close. Ball and 2 strikes. And the 1-2. Slowly hit to short, and they'll turn it into a force play at second. Rich Crowd making the play unassisted as he forces Nogus. The Bulls score 2 runs on 3 hits. There were no errors, and the bases were left loaded. After 3, the Bulls lead the Bears 4-0 on Sports Channel. Other than baseball here at the University of South Florida, for these young men who are out there in uniform, it is not just baseball. There are certain academic requirements that are necessary.
There certainly are, and the reason I got on with this conversation with Eddie Cardieri before the game was that past weekend with one of the Major League scouts that comes out to a lot of South Florida games, and they were talking about certain prospects around the state, and Eddie said, well, you know, I like the kid as a player, but he's not a good student. And that asked me to, prompted me to ask Eddie Cardieri what kind of academic requirements it took to be a student here at South Florida. And believe me, they don't bend the rules for any of the ball players at South Florida. It's a state-run school, and they have some very strict academic requirements, and I'll get into it as we go along this inning.
Okay, Rich Crowd takes a shoulder-high fastball inside, ball 1. Crowd popped up in the first inning. Of course, that has all changed, I think, since you enrolled here, Chris. Foul back, and the count is a ball and a strike. But if you want to get into it now, go right ahead.
Well, as SAT scores go, you need a 900 SAT score, 17 ACT, and a 2.5 grade point average in selected courses.
Off the hands, bounce to second. He is tagged out at first base by Scott Henry. Good play on both ends there. Miller getting the ball over to Henry, pulled him off the bag, but Scott was able to make the tag. Here it is again.
Good slow roller play. Scott Miller comes in here, knows he doesn't have much time, makes a good exchange between glove and hand. Henry gets pulled off the bag with the throw.
That's a tough tag play, too, for a first baseman who is a right-hand thrower. That's why it's much easier to make that tag when you have the glove on the other hand, because your arm will bend. That way, you're out there almost with a stiff arm, and I have seen, in fact, I saw Harmon Killebrew break his arm on a play like that. As big as he was. Believe me, it could happen.
We talked before the game tonight about Juan Bonilla breaking his arm the same way.
Yep, Juan Bonilla. San Diego with the Yankees, several other clubs, I guess. Brandon Smith flied out his first trip. That's off-speed pitches in for a strike, and the count 1-1.
We talked about the academic requirements required of USF. That's the same for every state school in the state of Florida. Now, those are different requirements than you may have at Miami or a Stetson or another private school. They're able to bend the rules a little bit more. Not that they would for their athletes, but they're able to. Now, the NCAA with the Proposition 48 has lower standards than USF does. So if you can get into USF and stay there, then you'll meet all the requirements of this Proposition 48.
I see. All right, very interesting. But for all the state schools, in other words, for University of South Florida, University of Florida, same.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Good overhand breaking ball. Got him. And that'll be strikeout number 3 for Whitney Florin. You know, when you think about it, Chris, it's... take another look at this one.
We talked about Florin's breaking ball. Boy, that really is a hammer. It drops that hard break. Good downward spin there.
So there are 2 down, and Muzzy Jackson will step in. Muzzy, the first baseman, grounded out to Scott Miller his first time up. Miller has 4 assists so far in the game, plus 2 putouts. He's been a busy young man. Ball 1. Bulls are leading by a score of 4-0. We're in the top half of the 4th inning. 1-1. Another off-speed pitch. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Muzzy not even flinching at those breaking balls. I think he's got one thing in mind up there, and that's looking for the number 1.
Well, he was. He got it and he handled it. That's a base hit, the first of the ball game. So Muzzy Jackson is on with a 2-out single here in the 4th. Final thought about the academics and so forth. Chris, I think it's a credit to any athlete in college who meets the requirements, as you talked about a moment ago, to be able to do that, go out and play his sport, plus put in all the time he has to on the books, and really he sacrifices a lot of private time. Off the fist, popped up, out behind the mound. In comes shortstop Andy Brandon, and that's all for Joe LeBons and the Bears. No runs. They get their first hit of the ball game, and a man is left on. In the middle, South Florida 4 and Mercer nothing on Sports Channel. Down at Mark Lassie with all the action as the Gators of Florida.
No.
Oh, you better believe that. You better believe it. I think the rivalries are great, though. Daytola trying to bunt for a base hit. Kevin is the only Bull who did not bat in the 3rd inning. He has reached on an error and scored, and he has struck out. Boys are just great. There's the curveball, fouled away.
Well, the 4 big schools in Florida are in the top 25 in college baseball across the nation. Division I, University of Miami rated number 4, USF 12th, University of Florida 19th, and FSU ranked number 21.
I think it is just great. Daytola gets out. He's a good base stealing threat. He's stolen 10 out of 16 attempts this year. 1-2 is the count. Very good ratings for the Sunshine State Conference teams. Eckerd, Tampa, FIT, some of the rest of them.
Florida Southern.
Florida Southern, yeah. Chopper, shortstop side. That could be trouble. Nice pick. The throw not in time. Well, I tell you, he did not throw that ball. Crowd came in, made a nice pickup of it, and then after sort of attempting to throw, held on to it.
This is something that Eddie Cardieri really likes to see Kevin DeTola do. Beat the ball down to the ground, use the hard area in front of home plate to pick up these high chopper hits. He's got good enough speed that he hits the ball that high in the air, it's going to take a super play to get him out of first base. That one didn't even draw a throw.
No. I think Crowd wanted to, and I don't know whether he got a good grip on the ball or just realized he didn't have a chance. And there he goes on a delayed steal for second. Throw down there is on. He can steal a base. He's now 11 out of 17. That was not a straight steal. That's more of a delayed steal.
That was a delayed steal. Michael Mims holds him on, and the catcher gets the ball. Kind of unusual to see a good base runner, a very fast runner, do a delayed steal.
He's going for third now. Throw down there is not in time, and he's stolen third. So on consecutive, first, second, now third. Yeah, after hitting the ball
all of a
60
sudden,
feet to get on.
Michael Mims got a man on third.
Coming here, off the fists and foul down this ball game. Singled in the first inning. Beat out a bunt third. Left side. DeTola will hold as the shortstop Crowd makes the play.
That was a nice play by Rick Crowd playing in. Here you see Mike Smith make this high hopper. Crowd will go back. He's got to go out back at least 5 or 6 steps. Ball throws in one motion over to first base to get Smith, who runs pretty good. And for play by Crowd.
Crowd of 5'8", youngster.
Made it look like he was 6'5". On
yes, he did. From Miramar, Florida. So, for third, and Dembski, after taking a strike, looks at the ball. The count 1-1. The Bulls out in front by a score of 4-0 and a threat going. Infield is in. And he swung through that pitch. 1-2. Dembski reached on a fielder's choice in the first. Triple to drive in a run in the third.
The triple that he hit was way out in the left center, up against the fence. Oh, a good 380 feet away, and I think the left fielder, Scott Malone, hasn't learned very much from him because he's still playing him very shallow.
He's playing a deep shortstop rather than left field, but he knew what he was doing there because he makes the catch. Here comes the... and he's out. DeTola is tagged out by Brannon Smith on the throw from Scott Malone. So Malone, after all, played perfectly. Here it is again. There's DeTola. Here comes the throw. The tag by Brannon Smith. All he has to do is hold the ball, and DeTola is out to complete the double play, and he holds it. So after 4 full innings of play, the score, the Bulls 4, the Bears nothing on Sports Channel. And leading off for the Bears, Scott Malone. Malone, the left fielder, walked in the second. High and deep right center field. Well hit. Well hit. That is gone. Boy, I think all of that one, Chris Welsh.
I'll tell you what, Scott Malone gives this one a ride big time. You know, he was looking fastball all the way. Whitney Florin trying to get ahead of him with a nice little get-ahead fastball, and Malone just unjammed him 450.
And after all his teammates come out to glad hand him, we'll take another look at it.
Watch looks down like, yep, that's out of here. He knows right away. DeTola takes about 5 steps. And there you see Rick Nogus giving it a good effort, but that ball lands a good 30 feet.
He sure did. So a run across for the Bears, and Jimmy Moneypenny takes a rip at the first pitch and fouls it back. That's the first winner we've had, isn't it? The air back in the stands. What do you win? T-shirt? T-shirt. Undershirt? Oh, a champion shirt. All right. Very nice. Thank you. They throw the ball back right away onto the field. Ball and a strike to Jimmy Moneypenny. Moneypenny grounded out his first trip. Grounded out to Scott Miller. Away, 2-1. You pitched in Wrigley Field in Chicago, Chris, right? Where they throw the opposition home run balls back in from the stands. Foul back to the screen.
All the ones I gave up there, Frank, they kept.
Well, those were the Cubs.
Those are the kids on the street behind the stadium.
You see what they're doing up there? People are up in arms. They're going to build a nightclub-like affair outside and put seats up there so people can sit there and watch the ball game from outside the ballpark on this plush roof of a building. Oh, and the folks are the neighbors, not what the Cubs did. Across Waverland Avenue, is it? Jimmy, is that it? And the neighborhood people up there are raising Cain about it. They said it's going to tear their neighborhood down even more than the lights did. Popped up foul off first. Scott Henry over and Moneypenny is gone. One down, and the batter will be Scott Steele. That is unique. Wrigley Field is unique. I went out there on a day off when I was with the White Sox, went over to Wrigley Field and watched a ball game, sitting out in the right field bleachers. And it was a fun day. It really was.
Nothing like Wrigley Field.
Here's Scott Steele. That breaking ball on the inside part of the plate to it.
You see the most unusual games there. The game takes on a special feeling or energy when you're in Wrigley Field. You may see a game with the wind blowing in 40, 50 miles an hour, and there'll be more runs scored there than all week long. Then you have the wind blowing out, and other crazy things will happen.
Well, right there, Whitney Florent threw that fastball right by Scott Steele. He challenged him. And the count is 0-2. Now let's see if he comes inside to set him up for that low and away curve. Nope. He threw that one in swinging range anyway. Whether it was a strike or not, it's fouled off. So the count will hold 0-2.
Whitney Florent does something that I very much agree with, and you can thank Spanky McFarland for impressing this on him. He's only a two-pitch pitcher, and at this level,
he jammed him with that one, and he grounds it down to first base, and is an easy out for Scott Henry.
He's trying to make sure that those two pitches that he does have are very good pitches before he starts diluting his repertoire a little bit by adding a slider and a changeup or a split finger pitch, something like that. If you can throw two pitches over the plate, in the pros, they can teach you that third pitch, that fork ball or that changeup or whatever it is. But get there, first of all, with good two pitches. Don't throw everything mediocre. You have to have a couple of real good pitches.
And be able to throw them for strikes, of course.
And throw them for strikes.
Two down to Doug Chris. Chris popped up back in the third. Takes the ball, 1-0. One-0 delivery inside, almost hit him. 2 balls and no strikes. Really wish we knew more about these Mercer players, but they have no biographical sketches or books that they could give us. Well hit to right field, but Nogas in the dark out there makes the catch. 1 run on the leadoff home run by Scott Malone. The next 3-batter retired, and in the middle of the 5th inning, the score, the Bulls 4, the Bears 1 on Sports Channel. Scotty has reached on an error and singled. Takes a strike.
Scott Miller back into the cleanup spot. He batted there quite a bit last year, 1988 campaign for the Bulls.
Hard smash to third, knocked down by LeBons, and is thrown out nearly in time. So John Redeker's got another decision to make. He is the official score. Been a lot of hard-hit balls down at third base tonight, I'll tell you that.
LeBons has had more than his share of tough ones.
Yes, he has. He's
really had a hard time knocking some of them down and a hard time throwing strikes to first.
0505645. You have won a $2 gift certificate to champion.
That will be a base hit.
number 13, the catcher, Troy Rusk.
And it brings up Troy Rusk. Troy is grounded out and struck out. The South Florida Bulls, again ranked 12th nationally by ESPN Collegiate Baseball. Bulls winning 3 out of their 4 games last week.
99942.
National rankings. That's a difficult thing to do in college baseball.
Well, I would have to think so. Snap throw to first base, but Scott Miller is back.
You've got ball clubs that don't leave their region being voted on against teams on the other side of the country.
Another quick throw over there.
Very few California teams or Southwest teams in Arizona ever come out and play Florida teams, although University of Florida did go out to San Diego State.
That slow breaking ball is in for a strike.
Oklahoma came here to Tampa, and Oklahoma State beat Texas A&M, the #1 ranked team in the country.
The Mercer Bears have a left-hander freshman out in their bullpen, Troy Winkles. We'll tell you more about him if and when he comes into the game. Boy, I'll tell you, Rusk reached for one about 6 inches out of the strike zone there.
Troy was telling me before the game that he's been lunging a little bit at the plate, leaning into it. I'll tell you, if you give yourself up like that against a left-hander of the caliber of Michael Mims, you're in trouble because this guy's got some kind of good breaking ball.
Runner goes, and no throw. Pitch was a ball, the count 2-2. Well, we hope that youngster down in the bullpen will come into the ball game because his grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Sewell from Indian Shores, are here, hopeful of seeing their grandson, Troy Winkles, get into a ball game, and he is warming up down in the bullpen. 2-2 to Rusk. Second stolen base for Scott Miller tonight. And the pitch in the dirt, ball 3. Scott Miller, with 2 steals tonight, is now 5 out of 7 in stolen bases. And Rusk draws a walk. That'll be the 3rd base on balls given up by Michael Mims. The other 2 were intentional walks back in the 3rd inning. And there's Troy Winkles out there in the shadows of the bullpen area, down outside the right field fence.
Number 8, designated hitter.
Not much light down there with that bank of lights in right field having blown out earlier tonight. Joe Liss has flied out and walked. Runners go on a hit and run, little looper right side. They may get him at first and do as Doug Crisp makes the throw, but the runners advance. Miller to 3rd, Rusk to 2nd. Boy, Joe almost got it through that hole on the right side, didn't he?
Doug Crisp was scurrying over to cover second base on the back end of the double steal. Liss almost hit it in the hole. That's the kind of offense Eddie Cartier really likes. He likes to put the runners in motion quite a bit, do the hit and run, sometimes a run and hit. Not a power ball club.
Here's Scott Henry. Looks at a breaking pitch for ball 1. Ron Fraser down at the University of Miami, much the same stylist. Mark of a good coach or manager, get the most you can out of the talent you have. You got home run hitters, sit back, as Earl Weaver used to say, and wait for the 3-run homer to win ball games for you. But if you don't have them, got some speed, run the bases. Or if you don't have either one, hit and run. Line down the left side, and that is a foul ball. So the count is now 1 ball and 2 strikes on Scott Henry. I don't know what the Yankees are going to do this year. Looks like they've lost Winfield for part of the season anyway. They pick up Mel Hall from Cleveland. Runners lead away again, and a slow bouncer to first is foul. And having known Dallas Green back over the years, there's a man who will try to get the most out of the talent he has. If he doesn't have the home run hitters, he's not going to worry about it. He's just going to change his type of thinking and try to get the most out of the talent he does have.
Well, he's got some talent over there in New York, but I think they'll be hard-pressed to play for the top of that particular division. They've got some strong clubs in Detroit and Toronto over there. Toronto having a great time down here in spring training.
Michael Mims just overpowers Scott Henry. That will be the third strikeout for Michael Mims. Make that the fourth strikeout for Mims. And with 2 down, Rick Nogus. Ball 1. Nogus has flied out and walked. And the 1-0 pitch over the outside corner. You got to admire this youngster, Michael Mims. Got some good stuff out there from the mound.
Yes, he does. Again, he's another 2-pitch pitcher, although he does change his arm angle, which brings another pitch into play. Basically a fastball slider pitcher.
Came over the top with that one, where he seems to be, as you mentioned before, Chris, more effective when he does come over the top.
He has a little more velocity, although he does have a tendency to kind of jump a little bit at the plate. Now, he said he reminded him of Ron Guidry, and he does, because Guidry had a kind of a little hop in the middle of his windup.
Yep.
Of course, he had that arm speed to be able to overcome that hop and really get that extra juice on the fastball.
Behind 2-1, they're going to walk Nogus now. And that will load the bases. Second walk given up to Nogus. That'll be the fourth walk by Mims, and 3 of the 4 intentional. That'll bring up the left hand, hitting Andy Brandon, the shortstop. He takes that little walk around the mound like Guidry used to do. Bases loaded, 2 outs. Fly ball left field, chasing back. Malone still back. Going to be over his head. And it is off the wall. A lot of people running across home plate. The play at third is not in time. A bases clearing triple by Andy Brandon. Scott Miller scores. Troy Rusk scores. Rick Nogus scores. And the Bulls now lead 7-1.
Here Andy Brandon lifts what really is just a long fly ball. Left fielder Scott Malone playing way too shallow, even against the number 9 hitter in the lineup. The ball hits right in the warning track. One hops the wall. Situation like that, I would not want my left fielder playing that shallow to allow the ball to get over your head that had that much hang time on it.
Certainly not. Not with 2 outs. There's nobody to throw out anywhere. But have a lot more trouble with the ball over your head than one that's going to drop in front of you.
Boy,
So the intentional walk followed by the bases clearing triple by Brandon, and the Bulls now with a 7-1 lead. And Kevin DeTola will step in. You know, I think a batter goes up there with the adrenaline really flowing a little bit harder, pumping a little harder after an intentional walk. No. Even though strategy dictates it lots of times and not the people involved. Swing and a miss by DeTola. But I think in the back of any hitter's mind is, well, they know that all right, so they'd rather pitch to me than him. Okay, I'll show him. Well, Brandon showed that time. The triple was his 3rd of the year, giving him 8 runs batted in. 0-2 to DeTola. Kevin tonight has reached on an error, struck out, and beat out an infield hit.
Now, college teams don't have the luxury of having a extra coach in the stands or an extra coach who just watches outfielders' positioning as they do in the big leagues. Normally, a situation like that Scott Malone's playing too shallow, have a flag or something in the dugout and wave him back a little bit. But he still hasn't made the adjustment.
0-2 pitch coming. It's high. The Mercer Bears played this afternoon. They won a ball game over Southwest Missouri State, 2-1. Their ball is fouled off. All right, now, not in your picture, but Mike Smith acting as bat boy as he runs down that errant baseball. Don't have any bat boys tonight, do we? Ball boys or girls. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
They must have cut back on the budget.
We
only have 2 umpires tonight. We usually have 3 or sometimes have 3.
Yeah, sometimes. depending on the importance of the game, I guess. High, 3-2.
Detola has not looked good swinging right-handed against Michael Mims tonight. If Mims can just throw it down and in to Detola will have a little bit of trouble with this pitch. He's just having a hard time harnessing that fastball, getting it back in the strike zone.
Well, let's see what he does here. 3-2 with 2 outs, runner at third. And he makes contact and fouls it away. Let's see, the Bulls have a couple of more games this week. Wright State of Dayton, Ohio is here at the Big Red Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Dartmouth will be here Thursday night at 7. Then this weekend, the Bulls go on the road and open Sun Belt Conference League play. University of Alabama, Birmingham for a 3-game series. They'll be down in Birmingham for a doubleheader on Saturday and a single game on Sunday. That's ball 4. Detola draws a walk. That'll be the 5th base on balls given up by Michael Mims. The runners first and third, and Mike Smith becomes the 8th man to bat for the Bulls here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. They have scored 3 runs in the inning on only 2 base hits. And the Bulls lead 7-1. In the dirt, blocked by Brannon Smith. Mike Smith has singled twice and grounded out. On that pitch in the dirt, Detola raced on into second base. So it's going to be another wild pitch, right? Go back and count up the wild pitches. That's 3 I can recall. High pop-up, shallow right field. Coming in, Moneypenny, the right fielder, and he claims it for the 3rd out. But the Bulls come up with 3 runs on only 2 base hits. There were no errors, and 2 men are left on. After 5, the Bulls lead it 7-1 on Sports Channel. Until I started broadcasting it for Sports Channel, although I did not do the Rolex. I believe Mr. Tony Segreto was behind the microphone for that one, along with my good friend Ami Shinitsky, one of the country's outstanding, knowledgeable men and experts on polo, Mr. Shinitsky.
The Rolex Gold Cup.
Rolex Gold Cup. This is Rob Myers leading off the 6th inning against Whitney Florin. Florin has allowed 2 base hits in the ball game, a single and a home run. Throws the fastball for a strike, 2-1. And the 2-1 pitch. Good by him, 2-2. See, they gave me my choice of doing the Rolex Gold Cup or the Cadillac Cup. And I'd rather do the Cadillac Cup because I have a watch, you see. 3-2.
And the Cadillac.
You always use 2. Use 2 of both, for that matter. 3-2 delivery. Off the hands, grounded slowly to short. Brandon on the pickup and has trouble with it, gets it over too late. That'll be an error charged to Andy Brandon. Brandon charged with an error.
Brandon's miscue is 12th of the year. This ball hit very slowly. He has to come in and field it on a kind of a short hop. Sometimes those slow hit balls are the toughest ones to field. They give you the spins out there, and that one just took kind of a funny bounce. Andy not able to get the handle on it.
Strangely enough, that's the first ground ball that's been hit toward him in the game. He's had 1 pop-up handle. Now a pitch here fouled away by Rich Crowd. Strike 1. Crowd has popped up and grounded out tonight. Been a lot of balls hit on the infield, but all of them have been hit toward second baseman Scott Miller, and that is the first one Brandon has had a chance to handle. Pickoff throw to first base, not in time. Myers back. Nice play by Troy Rusk. Ball and a strike. Mercer College from Macon, Georgia. Macon is just a few miles north of Fort Valley, Georgia. Now, you know what Fort Valley, Georgia is famous for? You see Fort Valley, Georgia products every day. Ball and a strike.
You're going to have to tell me, Frank.
Another curveball in the dirt, and again, Rusk is scrambling. They are famous for Bluebird buses, school buses.
Is that right?
That's where they make them. And the only reason I know that, my brother used to work for them. He no longer does, but I learned about Bluebird buses. High and tight. 3 balls and a strike. Used to visit my brother there, and it's a beautiful little area. I really enjoyed it. And a 3-1 pitch. Chopper left side. Smith picks it from third to second, 1. Back to first, save. Myers is out on a good play by Mike Smith. Picked that ball right in front of shortstop Andy Brandon and fired it hard to Scott Miller. And here it is again, Chris.
Here's a ground ball, not hit hard enough for a double play. Mike Smith ranges over to his left, makes a nice play. And look at this turn at second base by Scott Miller. He does his best to complete the double play, but not in time. He can really turn that ball over.
Yes, he can. Well, the Bulls with 21 wins this year, and the reason for a lot of them is that great defense on the infield. A lot of them, if not all of them, for that matter. As you mentioned before, they're not a power hitting club. They're a good hitting club. Team batting average. Staff ERA of 3.32 and great defense. Although we did not see great defense in the last game we televised. I think there were 3 or 4 errors, but that was very unusual. Bulls have committed 37 errors overall this year. Florin keeps flipping over there trying to get Crowd or shorten up his lead at least. Threw that pitch right by Brannon Smith. 1 ball, 1 strike. Smith has flied out and struck out 0 for 2. One deal. There again, that breaking pitch has Troy Rusk scrambling.
That breaking ball just keeps breaking and breaking. Rusk using all of his 6'4" frame to get out there and block it. Tunnels behind the plate, Troy Rusk does. Body square to those balls all the time. If it does happen to hit the ground, chances are it'll bounce and stay right in front of him.
Out there in the bullpen, Greg Fitzgibbons warming up for the Mercer Bears. We'll see if Barry Myers, the coach of the Bears, brings him in for the bottom half of this inning. Meanwhile, a 2-1 count to Smith. Crowd leading. And a ground ball shortstop side. And right through Brandon. He slowed it down, could not play it, and he'll pick up his 2nd error of the inning. So a pair of errors by Andy Brandon. The Bears are in business again. Here's the ground ball, Chris.
Unlucky error number 13 for Brandon. This one just scoots through his legs. He's wondering what's going on out there, checking for holes in his glove. Must be something on that left side of the infield tonight.
I don't know. It just didn't seem to me like he got over there in front of the ball. It looked like it sort of played it off to his right leg just a bit.
Joe LeBons, Mercer third baseman, has a couple of errors, almost a couple of others.
Well, his were
Andy
on throws.
Brandon now with a couple of errors. Might be kind of funny happenings on that left side.
Well, Brandon's on ground balls and LeBons, though, on throws, both of his.
That's right.
Strike 1 is called here to Muzzy Jackson, the first baseman. Muzzy got the first hit for the Bears back in the 4th inning. Prior to that, he grounded out, so he's 1 for 2. Bulls lead 7-1. Low fastball, 1-1. The Bears have only 2 hits in the ball game. And the 1-1 fastball fouled into the mitt. Ball and 2 strikes. I'll say one thing about Whitney Florin. He is just challenging Mr. Muzzy Jackson right now.
He sure is. Muzzy liked the look of that pitch. He got a good rip at it. Nice swing Muzzy had on that, but just a little bit too slow.
Power against power right there. And we'll see on 1 and 2 what he does. Hooked him and struck him out. That'll be the 4th strikeout for Florin.
Well, he threw the fastball by him pitch before. Here he throws out old Uncle Charlie. Muzzy can't drop the head on it, and he'll have to take a seat.
The Uncle Charlie. Sir Charles. Here's Joe Lebons. Lebons has grounded out and popped up. Came in hitting 280. And through the left side, that's going to be a base hit into left field. They will hold Crowd at third. And the bases are loaded. Lola Bonds gets base hit number 3 for the Mercer Bears. Bases loaded, and Scott Malone, who homered leading off the 5th inning, coming up. That's going to be interesting to see if Scott Malone sees a fastball on the first pitch here after he hit that fastball on the first pitch of the 5th distance. Now Rusk is going to go out to the mound now and have a little chat. And Eddie Cardieri out in front of the third base dugout, looking down the left field line.
Hey, how you doing?
Toward the bullpen area, where somebody has been warming up, and Cardieri got a hats off sign down there indicating that somebody was ready. Todd Harvey, is that who it is?
Looks like Troy Rusk is just out there wasting time until Spanky McFarland can come out, maybe make a pitching change.
Jack Healy says it is
Todd Harvey out there.
Todd Harvey out there, left-hander. Jack is our assistant director, floor manager tonight, and is also sports information director in charge of baseball activities here at the University of South Florida. Very fine assistant to John Gertis, the sports information director. And the pitching change will be made. So that will be all for Whitney Florin. He goes 5 2/3 innings. Charged so far with 1 run. He leaves 3 men on base as he goes out of the ball game. He allowed 3 base hits, had 4 strikeouts, and walked only 1 man and 2 outs. Todd Harvey is from Lake Worth, Florida, and attended Palm Beach Junior College over on the East Coast. Better wait till his outfielders get set out there. Now he steps off. Having a little meeting, Nogus and Detola. They will shade in center field. Malone to the left side. Fair gap out there in right center field for the left-hand batter. Up high, ball 1. Harvey is a big lad, 6'2", 181. A senior.
Todd throws about 15 different pitches. He throws from different angles of his arm. He throws different types of breaking balls, slow curve balls, hard curve balls, changes speeds on his fastball. Really has a myriad of pitches out there. The key for him, though, is to get into a nice rhythm where he can get the feel of the ball. He's what they call a feel pitcher.
Big kick, and he throws a strike. A couple of years ago at Palm Beach Junior College, Todd Harvey had the 4th lowest earned run average in the country. Freshman year, he had a 1.45 ERA. Brings it low, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Todd is a history major. Goes a fastball, curve, and change. That is a foul tip. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Now, this is an important pitch for Todd Harvey. He does not want to go full count and let those runners get off to the races here by loading it up. So what he wants to do is throw a strike to Scott Malone on the 2-2 pitch.
And a quality strike. Let's see what happens. Here it is. Curveball, bounce right side, foul ball. So we'll do it all over again. The Bulls are leading 7-1. The Mercer Bears have the bases loaded.
Malone, a big kid. He can hardly get those biceps in his uniform.
He had a big home run there in the 5th. He showed us his power there. 2-2. Swatted foul again. Turned on that one. Scott Malone from Lilburn, Georgia. 6'1", 195-pounder. Looks like he might work out quite a bit in the Nautilus, maybe lift a few weights. 2-2 pitch will be coming to him. And knocked down by Troy Rusk. There's the full count, which he did not want to go to, as you mentioned, Chris. So the runners will be off. Crowd will sort of play cozy at third, but Brandon Smith at second and Joe LeBons at first will be running hard with the pitch. Here it is. There they go, and it is pulled foul. I got a feeling he may got by with one there. That pitch hang up there a little bit in his eyes.
Sometimes you can hang a curveball inside and high just enough that it can't do you any harm. It's the curveballs that you hang out over the plate are the ones you get hurt on. That one up and inside, Malone not being able to do anything but foul that ball off.
All right. We'll have it all over again. Runners go, and a line shot into right field, base hit. 1 run is in. 2 runs will score. Malone showed me something there. He just shortened up on the swing. He didn't take that great big swing, just made contact, sent a line drive out into right field to drive in a pair of runs, and keep the inning going. There it is.
There you see he stays right on that ball, goes down with the breaking ball.
For Jimmy Moneypenny. And he drills one foul down the left field side. Those 2 runs are on the record of Whitney Florin.
Although unearned runs.
Unearned is right. They've had opportunities for 3 outs in the inning. Awfully tough to give up 4, sometimes 5 outs an inning, isn't it? A 1 pitch coming. Nice block by Troy Rusk. Scrambling again. Big man has very quick reactions behind the plate, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Has good mechanics. No wonder scouts over in Plant City and all around are talking about him and asking about him.
Everybody's looking for good catching.
Oh, boy. Aren't they, though? Two balls on a strike. And Rusky got a man who can bounce around behind the plate and who is a good hitter, at least on the college level. Came in batting .372, 6 home runs, 27 runs batted in. Two outs, 2 on, 2-1 pitch. In the air, left center field. That one's headed toward the gap, and it's in the gap for a base hit. Play will be to third base, not in time. Another run scores as Joe LeBons crosses the plate. And the Bulls' lead is now 7-4. Third hit in a row, and the second consecutive hit against Todd Harvey. Well-placed ball in the gap in left center field.
Well, the left fielder, Ken Dembski, skating towards the line a little bit. Here Moneypenny hits the ball in the gap. Not hard hit, but just in the right location, as you mentioned, Frank. That drives in 2 runs and brings the Bears mighty close at a 7-4 game.
Scott Malone went to third. Moneypenny to second, and Scott Steele the batter. Fastball high and away. Harvey is having a little control problem right now. Steele 0 for 2 tonight. Struck out in the third, then grounded out to first base in the fifth. One and one.
Looks like he took a little bit off that. You know, the two previous hitters getting base hits off of Harvey, sometimes after you come in to a situation like that, you don't get the hitters out. You have a tendency to wonder about the stuff that you have, and you lose confidence in it, and then you start to try to pick a little bit, and that's when you really get in problem. He's just got to go right after these guys.
Line shot over second base into the center field. One run is scored. Here comes the throw home. They may have him. He's out. He is out at the plate. Moneypenny is out after. That will be the third out, but not before Mercer picks up 4 runs in the inning. And here's the play again. Moneypenny on his way home. Rusk down. Tags him, shows the umpire the ball. The Mercer players say safe, but plate umpire Dennis McComb says out. And we'll go to the bottom half of Rusk or not.
Well, the Mercer Bears think that Rusk missed the tag right here. Does not look to me like he got him. If he did get him, now Moneypenny already has his hand on the home plate.
Yeah, that was the question. Did Rusk tag him or not? The umpire said yes, he was out. The throw obviously beat him. What the point was he tagged or not? So we got a close ball game with Dembski leading off the bottom half of the 6th inning, sending one foul deep down toward the left field corner for strike 2.
You know, that play, one interesting thing about that play is you don't see very many base runners plate.
No, you don't.
Especially when you have a guy the size of Troy Rusk back there.
I don't see why anyone would even consider going head first in with the catcher there with all the shin guards and everything else. That one bounces over the screen, back into the stands. Hit off home plate and bounced right back in. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Line shot right back over the head of the pitcher, Michael Mims. And Ken Dembski has his 2nd hit of the night. That'll be base hit number 9 for the South Florida Bulls. And it will bring up Scott Miller, who's been on base 3 times, reaching on an error. He's had 2 infield hits. He's stolen 2 bases, and he has scored a run.
Dembski continuing to show that he can hit left-handed pitching. One thing he does as a left-handed hitter against lefties, doesn't try to pull the ball, hits the ball the other way and up the middle. That time almost taking Michael Mims' head off.
Right there you saw Miller show bunt. Take the bat away, it's ball 1. (7-5) the Bulls lead. They have 9 hits, 6 hits for the Mercer Bears. Troy Rusk will be batting next. And there he goes. No play at second base. He steals. Now Eddie Cardieri calls Scott Miller down the line at third base for conference. Probably reminds him that you got to get that guy over to third if nothing else.
Even though it's a 2-0 count, don't try to pull the ball unless you can make sure it's going to be a base hit.
All right.
Miller, a business major. He's been drafted twice, both by the New York Yankees in 1985 and 86.
Two-0 pitch. Way away. 3 balls and no strikes. And the 3-0 pitch. He takes it low. Ball 4. So Miller is aboard for the 4th time tonight. That'll be the 6th walk given up by Michael Mims. A right-hander by the name of Hubert Hammett the bullpen for the Mercer Bears. So Barry Myers wants to make a pitching change. Evidently he could, but he has made no appearance out of the dugout. So it looks like Rusk will bat against the left-hander Mims. Mims had pretty good success with Rusk. Got him on a ground ball, struck him out, then walked him. A Rusk 0 for 2 with a run scored. That one hit in the air, right center field. It'll stay in the ballpark. Center fielder is there, picked off by Rob Myers. Tagging at second, going to third, Dembski. Miller holds at first. And Rusk is retired. I think Troy just missed a home run there by a fraction of an inch off the bat.
Well, that was a pitch that he could handle. He was right on it, had a nice swing, just the game of inches, and he'll go back, as many hitters do, say, boy, I just missed that ball.
Now 2 right-handers down in the Mercer bullpen, Greg Fitzgibbons and Hubert Hammock. We've had Myers warm up just about all his bullpen at one time or another tonight. Troy Winkle's also down there throwing. Runner going from first base, Miller on his way, and he is safe at second. Scott Miller's 3rd stolen base tonight. 5, let's see, count up the stolen bases.
Here's a throw by Brandon Smith, taken by Rick Crowd. Now, this is a nice, because the ball gets there before Scott Miller does, but that's a nice head-first hook slide by Scott Miller. That's the only reason he beat that throw.
6 stolen bases tonight for the Bulls. Joe Liss takes a strike on the breaking ball, 1-1. Liss has flied out, been walked intentionally, and grounded out. Well, the Bulls enjoying their running game tonight. 6 stolen bases. 7 stolen bases. Thank you, John. Breaking pitch, low and in.
If Mims gets behind here to Joe Liss, I wouldn't be surprised to see him walk him and then go ahead and pitch to the left-hander Scott Henry on deck. Something Barry Myers has been true to form so far, playing the percentages.
Yep. Fastball high and away. 3 balls and a strike.
He got the infield in. Hopes of cutting down a run at the plate.
Runner down at third is Dembski. Scott Miller at second. There is 1 out, and here's the pitch. He walked him, and the bases are loaded. That's the 7th walk given up by Mike. Bulls are leading 7-5. And the batter, Scott Henry, singled in the 2nd, grounded out in the 3rd, and struck out in the 5th. Ball 1. Rick Nogas on deck. Team's leading hitter, Scott Henry. 2 balls and no strikes and no place to put him. There's 1 away. Crowd and Chris, double play depth. Ball 3 and no place to put him. I got a feel right now that young Michael Mims may have just run out of gas here.
I think so.
3-0 pitch. He walked him and walked in a run. Ken Dembski trots in from third base to score run number 8 for the Bulls, and now we'll see Barry Myers in a moment on your screen as he comes out to the mound. Bases 1 out. Rick Nogas will be the batter. And Myers out there, and he made a motion yet to his bullpen.
He's got 2 or 3 guys down there to choose from. We'll see which he wants, whether he wants the left-hander, the right-hander, or whoever it is who wants to volunteer to come into a bases-loaded situation.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Well, let's see. He hasn't decided anything yet. The umpire is giving him a lot of leeway and a lot of time to make his decision. Now he will go to the pen. We'll just have to wait and see which one he has decided on. He had, let's see, he had Fitzgibbons, a right-hander. He had Hammock, a right-hander. He's bringing in a right-hander. It's Fitzgibbons. That's who it is, number 22. So Greg Fitzgibbons will come in to pitch to Rick and scored a run. He walked. They were intentional walks. So Nogus, with the bases loaded and one out, will step in against Greg Fitzgibbons. And here we go. That's him off with a breaking pitch in the dirt. Fitzgibbons, a senior. He's from Macon, 6'2", 195 pounds. Two balls and no strikes. The three men who were on base, Miller at third, Liss at second, and Scott Henry at first, all reached on walks. Fastball for a strike. Douglas playing due to the injury to Ballmer. And the 2-1 pitch. The bat went far enough for a base hit. The ball went right into the catcher's mitt. That's the record for the year, isn't it?
That's the farthest bat throw I've seen in a long time. Since Bert Campaneris.
Bert Campaneris. He threw him unintentionally and intentionally.
That's right.
Had to stop and think there for a second, yeah. I'll tell you who's probably got the all-time Major League record, though, is Winfield. 2-2 pitch. In the dirt, blocked by Smith, the catcher.
Fitzgibbons trying to keep the breaking ball on to Nogus, trying to induce him into a ground ball. See if he can get the Bears out of the inning without any further damage.
See, he's thrown 5 pitches to him, and 4 have been breaking balls, haven't they? Thrown 1 fastball. Outfield spread out, not too deep. He walked him and walks in another run. So the last 4 Bulls to reach base have reached on walks, and credit Nogus with a run batted in, as Scott Miller brings number 9 across the plate. And Andy Brandon will. Brandon was up with the bases loaded in the 5th inning and drove in all 3 men with a triple. That was the one Chris was talking about. Hit it over the head of left fielder Scott Malone. Still playing him shallow, and a strike call. Bulls have benefited from 8 walks tonight. Fastball for a strike, and it's 0-2 on Brandon. Andy struck out his first at bat, forced a runner in the 3rd, and then had the 3-run triple in the 5th. 0-2 pitch. Down low. 1 out, 3 on. Pretty good-looking pitch right there, Chris.
Certainly was. Fitzgibbons got the good breaking ball. That time he got it over the plate and in a good position. Here it is down and into the right-handed hitter. Brandon just swings over it. Pretty good snapper.
That's the 2nd out. And as Kevin DeTola steps in, he becomes the 8th man to bat here in the inning. Bulls batted 8 men in the 5th. They batted 8 men in the 3rd. And they are leading now by a score of 9-5. 9 runs, 9 hits for the Bulls, 5 runs, 6 hits for the Mercer Bears. DeTola is 1 for 3. He's stolen a couple of bases. Bulls have 7 stolen bases in the game. He was just a little bit overmatched that time. Bulls here have scored 2 runs on only 1 base hit. That was the leadoff single by Dembski. 4 walks in the inning. Inside. Reading something interesting in the paper the other day, Chris. Sammy Ellis, I guess, is pitching coach for the White Sox this year with Jeff Torborg, said that their entire pitching staff has been given strict orders. The first pitch they throw has to be a strike. 1-1 deal. Foul back. Ellis said, well, or he was, the scouting report's going to get, he said, I hope they do. He said, I hope everybody knows when they come up the plate, the first pitch is going to be a strike. He said, because my pitchers are going to throw a strike on the first pitch, period. Now, that's going to be interesting to see how long that lasts, if it works, how the pitchers react.
Strike. There are a lot of first ball, fastball hitters up there.
Sure there are.
I'm sure that Sammy doesn't mean just go ahead and throw a fastball down the pike, but I can see where he wants to get ahead with in the strike. With that leadoff strike. That's something that you got to do. You get the hitter on the defensive right away when you go 0-1 to him. There's some fastball hitters like Steve Sachs now over in the American League. He's a first pitch fastball hitter all the way. If he finds out the Sox are ready to do that, then he'll be jumping all over it.
Well, Alice didn't say they had to throw a fastball. You imagine it's going to be a strike. First pitch is going to be a strike.
Now, the other downside of that is that you get a guy thinking so much about throwing a strike, you don't want him to aim it.
Yeah, that's true. Pitch. Line, foul, outside of first. Woo. I'll tell you something. Kevin got around on that one. He turned and hit it hard, but foul.
Made Ron Cartieri do a little Italian jig down there at first base.
That's right. Good footwork there, Ron.
Detola has a much better swing left-handed than he does right-handed. I don't know whether he's a natural left-hander or right-hander, but I'd have to guess that he's just a natural lefty, because he has a much better swing that way.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Downstairs, 2-2. You take a look there at Greg Fitzgibbons. Came into a bases loaded situation, walked in a run, then he struck out Brandon. And now with 2 outs, he's trying to get Detola and avoid further damage. 2 runs have crossed. Popped him up. Foul off the left side and out of play. Had a chance to renew acquaintances with a very interesting gentleman yesterday down at Marklight Stadium in Miami, Chris. Dr. John Winkles of Maine, 69 years of age. Asked him if he's ever thought about retirement. He said that word is not in my vocabulary. Kids love him. Dr. John Winkin has done such a fine job over the years as a college coach. 2-2 pitch. Hit on the ground off the end of the bat, right to shortstop. And he has a little trouble with it. Throws to second. And gets nobody. He wanted to throw to second, and nobody was there to cover, so he had to hold on to the ball. Another run scores as List comes in. And let's take another look at this one.
There have been some funny balls hit over on the left side of the infield. There you see Rick Crowd comes up with the ball, ready to pitch it over to second baseman Doug Crisp, but Chris isn't there.
That's pretty good fan of infield play right there. I don't know how he went through that full of motion and held on to it.
Number 6, third baseman, Mike Smith.
So we have an infield hit there. A run batted in for Detola. And Mike Smith now will step in. Bulls leading 10-5. Smith, the 9th man to come up here in the inning. High and away, ball 1. Now it's Scott Henry over at third. Rick Nogus at second. Kevin Detola at first. Smitty had a single in the first inning, base hit to left. Bunted for a base hit in the third. Grounded out in the fourth and flied out in the fifth. 2 balls and no strikes.
The 10 runs the Bulls have scored now. This is the 8th time this year that they've scored 10 runs or more, and the 4th in the last 5 games. So the Bulls are on an offensive rampage.
We saw them score 11 runs the other day and lose them.
That's a part I didn't tell you.
Yeah, you didn't have to. Hard smash left side, and that's on through to left field. And diving back to third base, they got him. Rick Nogas is tagged out trying to get back to third after overrunning the bag. However, before he is tagged out, Scott Henry scores run number 11. And after 6 full innings of play, the score, the South Florida, the Mercer Bears, 5. Number 27. And there's also been a change at third base as Pete Sotsos comes in to play third. So mark those changes down. And if there are any more, we'll get them to you. Nice play down at first by Scott Henry as he takes that shot off the bat of Doug Crisp and retires him unassisted.
Sometimes a ball hit opposite like that is one of the toughest ones afield. Here Scott Henry makes a nice play, keeps it right in front of him, and he'll win the foot race easily to first base.
There's Brian Manici. 1 win, 1 loss, an earned run average of 182, 24 2/3 innings, 25 really now after getting that one out. And he delivers to Myers, who fouls it straight back. Manici making his 13th appearance, all in relief. He has 1 save. Struck out 14 and walked 11 men, so he sort of would indicate maybe a streak pitcher there, too.
He's another guy that walks just about as many as he strikes out. That's something that the Bulls have done overall. If you can say one negative thing about the Bulls, it's that the offense does not receive as many walks as the pitching staff gives up. Now, they have a respectable team pitching ERA of 3.32, but they've given up 166 walks, and that's, at this time of the season, that's just too many.
That ball hit right off the fist by Myers and out of play foul to the left side. Sotsos gave it a run, but no chance for a play.
If you tell Spanky McFarland what Sammy Ellis is doing over there in Chicago, he may have the same thing in store for the Bulls.
Well, I think, you know, it's going to be interesting. I haven't talked to Sammy, but I did read that little note in the paper the other day within the last 2 or 3 days, one of the spring training notes. Ball and 2 strikes, the count here to Rob Myers. He is 0 for 3. And a ground ball through the left side. That's a base hit. Myers will go down to first base. And for the Mercer Bears, base hit number 7.
Number 4, shortstop, Rich Crowd.
Rich Crowd, the shortstop now. He's 0 for 3. Reached on a fielder's choice in the 6th inning and scored a run. Bulls lead 11-5. Ball 1. Brian Manici is from right here in Tampa. High fastball. And the count to Rich Crowd. 2 balls and no strikes. Crowd, a junior from Miramar, Florida. Again high to him. He doesn't present a very large strike zone, being 5'8". And Manici behind him, 3 balls and no strikes.
Looks even smaller to Brian out there, having a little hard time bringing the ball down into the strike zone.
Yes, sir. He got that one down in the strike zone, and the count is now 3-1.
I'll tell you, when Rich Crowd gets down in his crouch, There's not much in there between the armpits and the knees.
There's really not much of a crowd, is there? Over to first, but back in plenty of time, Rob Myers. Medici, on the other hand, is 6'2" and 195. In the air, left field. Should be a routine chance, and is for Ken Dembski. 2 down. And it will bring up the catcher, Brannon Smith. For 3. Been no very little hitting, only 1 base hit among the top 3 men in the batting order. The only Mercer Bear with as many as 2 hits is Scott Malone, who has homered and singled, and who has driven in 3 of the 5 runs. Foul ball.
Medici got behind the previous hitter, Rich Crowd, with fastballs. There he let him off with a curveball, maybe trying to break his rhythm up a little bit, make it easier to throw strikes with the other pitches.
Okay. 1 ball, 1 strike. How important is that to sort of change the rhythm once in a while?
Well, sometimes, you know, you think that you can throw your fastball for strikes easier than a breaking ball. You get in a bad habit with your fastball, and that's more difficult to throw over a strike zone than anything else. So a good catcher will come out right away and say, hey, let's mix it up a little bit. Throw me a couple of breaking balls, and then we'll go back to the fastball.
But he missed with that curveball, and the count is 2-1. There are 2 outs, a runner at first, Myers. Off the fists, foul back, that'll be out of play.
Eddie Cardieri does one thing that I do agree with very much. He lets the catcher call the game or the pitcher call the game, however it is, but he does not try to give any input as far as balls and strikes from the dugout. A lot of college coaches will call balls and strikes and will let the pitcher get into the rhythm of the game sometimes.
Bouncer foul off the left side.
And it also makes for much longer baseball games.
No, I like the idea of letting the catcher and or the pitcher call the game. When you say a catcher calls a game, pitcher can always shake him off, throw what he wants, or they can argue about it. Ball 3, fastball inside.
I may have called that home run pitch, but you didn't mean you shouldn't have thrown it where he did.
That's right. Yeah. High payoff pitch. The runner will be going. Myers. He goes, and it is in the dirt. Ball 4. So Medici gives up his first walk. And let's see, as I look back, that is only the second walk allowed by Bulls pitching tonight. There was a walk to Scott Malone back in the 2nd inning, given up by Whitney Florin. Doug Harvey didn't walk anybody. And now Muzzy Jackson. 1 for 3 tonight. Struck out his last time at bat, had a base hit in the 4th, and grounded out in the 2nd. 2 on with 2 gone. Muzzy Jackson, 10 home runs on the season. Ball 1. Bulls lead 11-5. Pickoff play back to second as the shortstop, Andy Brandon, ducked in behind Rob Myers, but they did not get him.
The Bulls are threatening to do something that they do not want to do, is let these teams who they are beginning to blow out of the ball game back in the game. They did it last Saturday against Southeastern Louisiana and ended up losing the game 12-11. Mercer's not ready to give up. They're only 6 runs down, and in college baseball, that's not too much. It would behoove Mr. Medici out there to kind of bow his neck and make sure that he comes out of this inning unscathed.
Well, he put some giddy up on that last pitch, I'll tell you that, and the count has gone 1-1. He threw that one right by him. Runners first and second, and 2 out. Took a lot off of that one. 1-2. Yeah, that's sort of disheartening when you, let's see, what they have, a 7-1 lead early in that game against Southeastern Louisiana in the third inning, and then they let them come right back.
They sure did.
And Southeastern Louisiana won the game, what, 12-11 to break the Bulls' 16-game win streak at home. Strike three, got him looking, knee-high pitch on the outside corner. No runs, a base hit, no errors. 2 men are left on base. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning with a score. The Bulls 11 and the Bears 5. Hits and 2 errors. The Bears 5 runs, 7 hits and 2 errors. And we have a new catcher for the Bulls. There he is right there, trotting right into the camera. Doug Joseph, number 14. Doug, a freshman, hometown Tampa, Chamberlain High School. And Joe LeBons will lead off. 1 for 3. And he has scored a run. Brian Manici comes in a little bit low with his first pitch. Manici, the third pitcher employed by the Bulls tonight. Whitney Florence started. He is the pitcher of record. Off the hands, into the air, right center field. On the run, right fielder Nogus cannot get to it. Nogus will pick up an error. He got to it and couldn't catch it, is what happened.
Here Nogus out playing in the dark shadows of right field. Red McEwen Field having the light standard go out in right field. That goes in and out of his glove. Just popped right out of there. He's checking for the goat head that's in there.
Yeah, the goat head. Yeah, I tell you, that light standard, we haven't mentioned that recently. It went out, what, about the first inning, second inning? Early in the ball game, just sort of blew up. So a runner on, and the first pitch here to the left-hand hitting Scott Malone. Malone has homered and singled. He had a tremendous shot way out over the right center field wall, leading off the 5th inning. Then drove in a couple of runs with a single in the 6th. Pickoff throw to first, but back in plenty of time.
You know, with the regular outfielder, right fielder Gus Vollmer now out for several weeks with the finger injury, there may be some competition again for starting spot in right field between Nogus. Perhaps Mike Smith may move to right field from third base, and Soto's play third base.
Like the Bonds may have pulled something there. Maybe something happened over there in that pickoff throw to first base. He's walking it up. Got hit with the ball, I guess, on the pickoff throw over there is what happened. He's sort of walking it off. Now they want more time for him. He may want to come over and have the trainer take a look at him. May come out of the ball game. I don't know. They're going to send a runner in for him. And everybody up here is saying, who is number 9? We do not have a number 9 for Mercer. So number 9 running down at first base for Joe LeBons. Malone takes a breaking pitch for a strike, and it's 1-1. We mentioned early in the telecast that the Mercer club got here about 15 minutes before game time, having got lost on their way to Tampa from DeLand, where they played this afternoon. What was that, Jimmy? Leonard Nimoy said him. Leonard Nimoy in search of.
Search of Red McEwen Field.
2-1 pitch, foul just over the protective screen. 2 balls and 2 strikes. They won their ball game in 8 innings. They had only scheduled for 7. 2-1. Against Southwest Missouri State. 2-2 pitch, struck him out. Just reared back and got him. The second strikeout for Manici. And the batter will be Jimmy Moneypenny.
Pitch running for Mercer, number 9, Kevin Vick.
finally have the mystery man solved down at first base. Scott Lacey, is that it? No, Kevin Vick. Oh, we got two number 8s. Scott Lacey and Kevin Vick, both are number 8s. That's why one of them's wearing number 9. So we'll say that as Kevin Vick running at first base for Le Bons.
Benici now getting his breaking ball over with a little more consistency. He threw a couple of breaking balls to Scott Malone, had him velocitized, and then blew that hard one by him. There he's got that good over the top coming.
Had him what? Velocitized?
You never heard of velocitized?
No, I didn't.
Well, I'll have to explain that to you.
It's like some of the rock singers you have over here in the Sun Dome that I've never heard of.
Hitters try to hit what they see.
Uh-huh.
When they see a ball come in, they don't know whether it's coming in at 85 or 95.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just trying to hit what they see. So if you can come in there and throw a pitch at a certain speed time after time, you can velocitize that hitter. It's similar to a...
Well, that one slips out of his hand, goes over the head of catcher Doug Joseph, all the way to the backstop for a wild pitch, advancing Kevin Vick to second base.
Well, that's not what I had in mind. This isn't. This is not velocitized. This is ricocheted.
That was just slips.
But it's similar to driving down the interstate at, say, 55 or 65 miles an hour, and then pulling off to an off ramp, getting on a country road where the speed limit may be 40 miles an hour, which is fairly fast, but you seem like you're going as slow as a turtle. That's the same. That's the feeling of being velocitized.
That is being velocitized. All right.
Don't try to look it up. I don't think it's in there.
I'm not going to try to look it up. I couldn't spell it. I'll take your word for it. We've added a new word to the English language, velocitized. Here's the 1-2 pitch. The hook grounded to third, picked up neatly by Sotos, and throws him out. Kevin Vick holding at second base as Moneypenny is retired. Ball well hit, but right at Sotos.
That ball stayed down. Sotos did a nice job keeping his ball right down against the ground, head down to watch the ball right into his glove.
2 outs, and Scott Steele will be the batter. Steele is 1 for 3 with a run batted in. Well, you keep your head down on those. You hope it doesn't take a bad hop. That's why you see the infielders constantly just about smoothing out patches of dirt in their area. Check swing, didn't check it in time. He went around, says the plate umpire, Dennis McComb. Strike 1 on Scott Steele.
Something is kicked in here for Brian Benici. All of a sudden, he seems to be throwing his fastball, a few miles an hour fastball, snapping that hook off a little better.
Oh, it sure looks like it, doesn't it? Maybe just all of a sudden everything came together. He had something on that one. 0-2. Now second base. Now I wonder why Scott Miller now would come in and say something to the mound, break the concentration or whatever. I mean, here the guy's just gotten into that great groove. Don't say anything to him. Leave him alone.
That's right. Let him go. Don't break up his rhythm or step out of the box or come in and talk to me.
2 outs, a runner at second, and an 0-2 count here on Steele. They may have made a switch on signs, and Miller wanted to check on that, though. That could very well be. 1-2 the count. Bill White said one time he was playing first base for the Cardinals. Bob Gibson pitching, got in trouble. Bill said, I walked over the mound, thought I ought to go out there and try to break things a little bit. Said, Gibson looked me right in the eye and said, oh, are you going to pitch now, or are you going to play first base? If you want to pitch, here's the ball. He said, I never went out there again.
Not very many people had to go out and visit Bob Gibson when he pitched.
No. Isn't that the truth? 1-2 delivery here. And he burned it by him. The third strikeout for Benici. No runs, no hits, an error, and a man left on. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning with a score. South Florida 11, Mercer 5 on Sports Channel.
No earned runs, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, and 2 walks. He's tied for the universal lead in ERA with a 0.00 ERA. And we'll see if the big guy can slam the door and get Eddie Cardieri his 22nd win of the year.
Well, I tell you, a game like this lets Cardieri get some work in for people like Tabor and Manici and Harvey. Whitney Florence started the game, worked 5 2/3 innings. He is the pitcher of record, and will get the win unless the Bulls blow an 8-run lead here in the 9th inning, which I doubt that they will do. We might say this to the folks who are waiting for the Rolex Gold Cup polo match to come on. It will follow our ball game tonight. Doug Chris leads it off. Takes a ball. Tabor joined the team in January after transferring from Clemson. Sat out a year while attending classes here at USF. Fly ball, right field, coming hard. Noga still coming. Foul territory, can't get there. We'll have Sports Nightly live following our game, and then the polo match. Thank you very much, Jack Healy, our floor manager and assistant director tonight, coordinating here in our broadcast booth at Red McEwen Field. I have not seen John Gertis tonight. John on business elsewhere, maybe. 1-1 pitch. Threw it by him. John is with the women's golf team down in New Orleans, where they're playing in a golf tournament, right? Very good. 1-2 delivery. Struck him out. Well, I tell you, this big guy comes right over the top, doesn't he?
Doesn't not fool around a bit. It was just power versus power there. Number one, and the 6'6" Mark Tabor had a little advantage over the 5'8" Doug Chris.
Yeah, I would say. Well, they pitch now to Rob Myers. Myers has gone 1 for 4 tonight. Had a base hit in the 7th inning. The Bulls are leading by a score of 13-5. South Florida scored 2 in the first, and they have led all the way. Although as 7-5 in the middle of the 6th inning. One ball, no strikes. Tabor gets his fastball in the upper 80s, they tell me. He throws a forkball, curve, changeup. Attended St. Petersburg Junior College before going to Clemson. Bouncer to third. Sotsos is there. Guns it across. Plenty of time. 2 down. For those watching here in the Tampa Bay area, we'd like to remind you that the Bulls will be playing Wright State from Dayton, Ohio here at the Big Red on Wednesday night at 7. Dartmouth is in Thursday night at 7. Then the Bulls go on the road, where they have not fared as well as they have at home. 4-4 on the road. They'll be going down to Alabama, play University Alabama Birmingham. In Birmingham, a 3-game series. Doubleheader Saturday, Singleton Sunday. Ball 1 to the right-hand hitting Rich Crowd. Crowd is 0 for 4. (13-5) Bulls here in the 9th. On the inside corner. Ball and a strike. Tabor ready and brings it right over the top and fouled back. 1-2.
Well, Tabor's not taking this outing of his as it being in a blowout game. He's out there cooking that ball up there one after another, really being very aggressive. This is something that Eddie Cardieri looks for. Now, he knows that Tabor, having pitched a couple innings, may want to go back to him tomorrow, the next night, maybe in a more pressure situation.
Sure.
You can earn yourself a spot in these games.
Popped him up. This should be the ball game. Coming in, the second baseman. And Scott Miller puts it away to retire the side and end the game. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. We'll be back with the totals. Live from Mark Lights Stadium on the campus of the University of Miami, Sports Channel presents University of Miami Baseball. Tonight, the Bears of Mercer University take on the Miami Hurricanes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Marklight Stadium. I'm Frank Mercer, along with Bob Greasy, as the University of Miami Hurricanes open a 3-game weekend series against Mercer University. The Bears. And, Bob, do you suppose they've set a trap for the Hurricanes?
Well, they come in here nothing to lose and everything to gain, and the Hurricanes, coming off of 2 straight losses, didn't play very well the other night against the University of Tampa, and I think they're looking forward to bouncing back here tonight.
I think they realized in that game against the University of Tampa, you can't take anything for granted in college baseball. Now, the Mercer Bears come in sky high after a win their last game over Georgia Tech.
Well, they're a team that have lost quite a few ball games. They've won maybe they've lost twice as many as they've won. The Hurricanes just need to get back on the winning track. They have 6 games left in the season. The regionals are right around the corner, and Frazier wants to get this ball club back on the winning ways.
I'll tell you, though, you talk about Mercer losing twice as many as they won. They play a pretty tough schedule. They got teams like Georgia, Georgia Tech, Mississippi, LSU, and, of course, in conference, a team that we saw was pretty tough down here, Stetson.
Yes, they were. And the Hurricanes, again, what they need to do, Alex Fernandez pitching tonight, have to get back on their winning ways. And I expect them to do it.
All right. Alex Fernandez, touted as one of the best college pitchers in the country, certainly, even though he is